It was just after 6:30 a.m. when the first shots were fired.
I remember everything. I remember every detail. It doesn't leave me. It was a day that I don't think I'll ever be able to forget.
Kfar Aza, a kibbutz only 3 kilometers from the Gaza border, was one of the first reached by Hamas on that October Saturday morning. Residents hid in their shelters, unsure what was happening outside.
We didn't know anything. We didn't have light. We didn't have water. It was a hard day. Sad day.
It seemed like the end of the world. My house was shaking from all the rockets that were coming out of Gaza. That's how close it is. And in a WhatsApp group, somebody wrote that they can hear shooting. That was the Hamas terrorists killing people already. And then we heard the shooting coming closer and closer to the house, and then they shot the house. And then we heard them walking inside the house next to the door of the little shelter. You could hear the steps, and they were shouting and screaming in Arabic. And they started shooting around us. There must have been something like 15 terrorists, some of them with knives, some of them with guns, and they shot us inside the house.
Around 9 a.m., a second Hamas wave arrived, some on foot, others flying over the border with paragliders. It was 12 hours before the Israeli military arrived. It then took them days to retake the kibbutz. Finally, on Tuesday morning, after 3.5 days of fighting, the longest battle was over. 64 Israelis had been killed. Aviv Baram died defending the kibbutz.
After he has been injured, he called Heli and said, "Heli, I'm injured." And she asked him if he can move a bit. And he moved close to the big olive tree. And that's where we found him, where the army found him. And the last time that he wrote for Heli that, "I love you all."
At least one of the dead had been decapitated. The charred bodies of others were discovered in the ash of homes. The United Nations found evidence of sexual violence there. 18 residents had also been taken hostage by Hamas. Some dead, some alive. They were forced into Gaza.
They pushed us, and Keith fell, and they broke his ribs. And they shot us, and one of the bullets hit Keith's hand. I remember going through the Michshol, that's the big, huge fence. It was just open, and we just drove into Gaza.
Kfar Aza today is a ghost village. A few people have returned, if their houses are still standing. Shah Snurman and his wife now cook for the Israeli soldiers stationed on the border and hope that kibbutz life will come back soon.
Why did you choose to move back?
I didn't see any other option except to live in my house, my land. It's what I owe to this country, what I owe to my father. This is the education that I got. You never leave the house, you never leave the land. So we came back.
Today, a year on, many of the residents of Kfar Aza are still living in temporary accommodation north of Tel Aviv. They are still haunted by October the 7th. Some are angry that they were abandoned.
I'm disappointed from the army. You know, my enemy is my enemy. I didn't thought that if they come in, they will come to what? to shut down the electricity. No, they come to kill us. We know it. We knew it all the time, you know. But we thought that we have a country and an army that's supposed to defend us.
When the nightmares interrupt sleep, it is to this workshop they come in the middle of the night to distract themselves with craft.
I don't have house, and I don't have kibbutz. A lot of my friends have been murdered this day. We cannot sleep. I have a lot of bad dreams. And coming here and making the art, I put in the music to hear, and that's helped me.
Massive weekly protests have been held across Israel, demanding a ceasefire and a hostage deal. It hasn't happened. 97 of the hostages taken on October the 7th are still being held in Gaza. Aviva Siegel was released last November. Her husband, Keith, wasn't.
I bent down to him and said that he said that I'm going to Israel and that he must be strong for me and I'll be strong for him. And that's how we separated. He didn't say a word. He was in a shock. I was in a shock. I didn't believe. I don't know what Keith thought. I've got no idea what Keith thought. And he managed that moment.
He said nothing.
He said nothing.
A new village is being built for the Kfar Aza residents. Some will never return to their old homes. Some will only stay here for as long as they have to.
We lost so many good people, so many good friends, but we must build it. If not, the Hamas win if we don't build it.
October the 7th changed everything. For millions, it was the day normal life paused. A year on, the war in Gaza continues and conflict has spread across the region. More than 42,000 have been killed in Gaza, but Hamas remains undefeated. Israel has now invaded Lebanon. But Hezbollah is fighting back. And with perhaps some inevitability, the United States is now being dragged into a war they've tried and failed to end. Benjamin Netanyahu promised Israelis total victory over their enemies. It is unclear when or how that will come. Alistair Bunkall, Sky News in Kfar Aza.